Hi there, that's right. It's great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch back on the camera again one more time for another delightful short series of tarot readings. Here we go. As I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, this is tarot readings by request but not on demand. There always will be a backlog, so I can't guarantee I'm going to get your reading out basically straight away. So relax about that. If you need one on demand, then there's other places where you can contact me for basically a live tarot reading whenever I'm online, okay? I am available for on-demand readings, but that's part of my paid service. Do bear in mind that I read tarot for a living, okay? So I can't give them away for free. The only free tarot readings I'm doing is here in the tarot show, which is what you're watching right now. And the only way to get your requested reading through is to send me a private message through this YouTube channel, Nick Dutch Tarot, and then I'll be happy to add you to the rota. But it is a rota and I've got a bit of a backlog to go through, so I do apologise about that. But without further ado, we'll go straight on to the first reading of today, and we'll see basically what's coming through and how we can help this particular this individual called Taboo 9, and she's got this connection with this individual who's treating her in a bit of a weird way, as if the individual that she's building this relationship with once in a while goes into silence mode and basically cuts off all communication, and she's rather concerned about this, and I think quite understandably so. So let's just have a quick look and see what's coming through as far as this connection is concerned, and see whether we can get something a little more analytical coming through. As is traditional, I'm shuffling like mad whilst I'm talking to you now. I've got the Book of Thoth Tarot today, and I'm telling my friends and my relatives that I like different tarot packs for Christmas, so hopefully I'll be able to learn a few more decks. We'll be able to get a bit more variety, but it's still the Book of Thoth for the moment because it just seems to give me more accuracy and giving more like an anchor on your situations and what's going on in your life. Standard 8 card relationship reading. Let's see what's coming through here. Alright, yes, it is complex. For an easier relationship reading, the card for the forces between the two of you, the thing which defines the relationship, would normally be, a cup sign. There are some cup or love allusions with the lust card of the major arcana, but it's not necessarily quite so simple, so flowing. It's not quite so, as it were, watery, so to speak. And the feelings are more intense, emotionally intense, possibly due to desires on his side of things and desires on your side of things not meeting. So my first interpretation would be he's going back to a childlike way of looking at life and looking at relationships, because he's finding it hard to be able to say, look, I know you've got your goals here, I've got my goals here, can we just try and find a middle ground? He hasn't reached that level. On his side of things, good sense of passion and a desire for communication, but those communication signs, they are reversed there, which is making things look a little harder basically. The feeling is that he wants to try and get some kind of control within the relationship, and as a result of that, it's not quite happening the way that things should be. So he wants to control the relationship. He can't quite do that because you're obviously an intelligent, strongly willed individual, and you want to try and make sure that things go according to plan. His idea of things going according to plan is that things have to go his way, basically. His way or the highway. So he's the one who's got the problems at the moment. But this is only like the psychological issues of the here and now. They're not the psychological issues of the future or necessarily of the past. Although you may have detected some similar character traits within him within the past. On your side of things, the forces are very different. There's the allusion there, the reference to a feeling of powerlessness, which I think you can understand, taking into account the fact that this is a guy who's reacting in a very silly way towards you. But also this sense that on the basis that he does grow up and start doing the next right thing, you could have a feeling of like self-actualization, that sense of everything's working out according to plan. You can see the better things inside him, which he himself is slightly unaware of. And that's where a lot of the conflict is basically lying. I think the issues are primarily to do with his inability to chill out and be a grown-up about the relationship, and I think that's what you're suffering from here. Progress in the future, well, there is some. For start off, those cup signs that we didn't see in the forces between the two of you, we are seeing within the first 3 months of the reading there, with the Prince of Cups, again talking about stability, solidity, and trying to bring about more positive emotions. So maybe that'll be the time when he'll start overcoming this this silly patch. I don't think he's trying to avoid you. I think he's trying to avoid himself, or to be more accurate, trying to avoid responsibility that's necessary in a real good relationship. There are still some allusions there in the future. Do take into account that prophecy is about probability, okay? I'm not the Lord your God, you've got to remember that. Some people do actually get that confused, okay? I'm pretty sure that you won't, but some people do. Prophecy is about probability based upon the energies of the here and now and of the past and of the connections which I feel and anything else which pops into my head, okay? The allusions in the future is talking about new beginnings, but those new beginnings are really centered upon the New Year period. It's not centered upon the here and now. It's a question of bringing about progress, not necessarily bringing about perfection, I would say. There is a feeling of cooperation in the very long-term future. That's after the spring, moving on to the summer of the year 2011. So what can we say about this? Well, it's going to be a difficult situation. It's going to be a complex situation. You're dealing with someone who's not quite got all the equipment in place, mentally speaking or emotionally speaking. And with the passage of time, if he doesn't fill or fulfill the path of the prophecy here, maybe you'll have to make a bit of a hard decision about whether you actually want this individual in your life, which may be difficult for you considering that you got this tension going on there. Some women, so it seems, actually do like a bit of a challenge in a relationship. That can be a positive thing, but it can also be a negative thing and get in the way of feeling really good about the longer term future and progress on a bigger level, so to speak. I feel that maybe you've got some of that, and maybe this sense of frustration you're getting with him is making your resolve stronger. Is that necessarily a good idea? Well, I'll have to leave that for you to decide. Okay? I'm not the final decision maker in your life, you are. Okay, well, let's crack on with the next reading of today. Just a second, please. Okay, we have a YouTube user called Jasmine Nick 33 who's had a relationship, broken up about 5 months ago, and they're not quite on speaking terms at the moment. Now, Jasmine Nick is someone who's got, the desire for something to occur, but it appears to be rather conditional at the moment. So the question is really, is there going to be an opportunity for things to actually develop in a very real sense in the future? That's the question, that's the issue. Obviously it's a difficult situation because what I'm reading on is a sense of connection with someone who Jasmine Nick hasn't actually known for 5 months. But again, standard 8 card relationship reading, Book of Thoth Tarot, shuffling like a lunatic right now, because we want to have a nice random reading and all I want to do is to tell you what comes through. I do not doctor the readings in any way whatsoever. You get what appears, okay? Here we go. Right, well, this is an interesting one. I actually think I'm going to show you the cards so you get a bit of a feeling for what I'm seeing here and the kind of interpretation that I'm placing upon the outcome of the reading. Let's just have a quick look. Alright, this is the layout of the 8 card relationship reading. The signs on your side of things, the signs on your partner's side of things, the thing which I call the forces between the two of you, and progress short term, mid term and long term, okay? So you get a feeling for roughly what the spread looks like. The here and now dominated by the Five of Cups here. Now, if it's a cup sign, it's typically speaking a love sign. Now, as you can see, it's got a pattern of an inverted pentagram there, which some people regard as being negative or evil. It's not necessarily negative. It can speak of something divine descending into the material world within your life itself, but it's also labeled as disappointment. I don't know whether you can see that there. So, the message is talking about the here and now and the fact that you've got this feeling of some potential. It's a really powerful feeling there, but has it actually manifested itself to something which you could regard as actually being good in the longer term? Basically in the here and now, not quite. I mean, on your side of things, you know there can be a victory, you know that you're already in a conflict situation, there's things which haven't been said which should have been said, and a sense that there is something on the other side once you got through this blockage, but he's got to do some work in order for you to start having confidence in him, but you also love him dearly, okay? And that's why we got the Ace of Cups there. The Ace of Cups is what you might call a very, very good cup sign, and it's interesting that things have turned out in this particular way, okay? So the disappointment of the forces between the two of you at the moment, but also that there's something else descending or being a part of the relationship. There is a loving bond there, but you're aware that there's conflict. On his side of things, for some reason we're just getting relationship situations in which the guy has got issues. Sense of knowledge and self-knowledge and growing self-knowledge, yes, but also a slight touch of delusionment because the universe card is reversed. And also a sense of restriction. What is it in his life? What is it in his life that's holding him back? Why has he got this sense of, I want to communicate with her, I want to make things better, I want to improve the situation, but things aren't progressing? He doesn't know enough about his life. He doesn't know enough about the bond between him and you. He hasn't quite thought closely enough or deeply enough as to where your needs are really lying. And so there's a feeling of frustration, there's a sense of a number of different issues connected with this. And because of the arrangement here, I think that the biggest message we can give you is that he is someone who just doesn't understand. And that's causing a few problems. Now, if it was completely over, then basically the future part of the reading would not be coming out with relatively positive signs. Alright? The fact we've got two male significators there is suggesting to me that maybe he's thinking more about hanging out with his friends, doing more sort of male stuff with other guys at the moment and possibly for a short term into the future. But we also have the cup sign illusion during a short term future with a sense of there being a passionate illusion in your mid-term future. So this is another connection which is not completely over. Maybe he's being a bit selfish, maybe he's being a bit juvenile, maybe he's going back to adolescent thinking, maybe he's just thinking about having a really cool car and hanging out in the bars with his guy friends. Maybe that's what he's doing at the moment, going into his, what some people call the man cave. Okay? But we have a communication illusion later on down the line. Now, as far as is something going to happen here, it is difficult to say, even for someone like me, because he's taken a certain tack at the moment whereby he's going to focus in on his needs and he's not really going to be open to something else, despite the fact that he knows there's something there. Could this disappointment be a reflection of him being disappointed with himself? Could those signs there be a question of him trying to find out more about himself and what he wants from a relationship in the future? Okay? There's lots of little questions that this reading is making me want to ask right now. And this sense that we've got in the future, it does have some loving signs there. So it's not completely over, but it's also not completely solid. I'm going to give you a positive interpretation based upon the fact that there is love there between him and you. Alright? But it's almost like he's depressed or anxious maybe, and that's causing a few difficulties as well. So, is there a chance for you guys to get back together again? Yes. Is there a certainty there? No. It will take more work. Communication is very important, and it depends upon how you do it. I know that you're feeling a bit of pain right now. Maybe you need to think about dealing with that so that once communication has started, you don't allow the pain that you've got inside you to push him away. Some people call me up and say, will my relationship develop further? And I have to say something like, depends upon how you react with him. Because if you're going to kick your boyfriend in the head with a shovel, it's going to be less likely that he's going to stick around. If you've got the emotions in you that would make you want to kick your boyfriend in the head with a shovel, it's quite unlikely that you're going to be able to avoid kicking your boyfriend in the head with a shovel. And once you've done that, then of course things could not go according to plan. If I was in a position to advise you, I would have to say deal with the emotions that you've got associated with him. Deal with the feelings of frustration, the sense of anxiety, the sense of please let me have a result and I want him to do the work. Try and remove that. Use prayer, use meditation, use contemplation, study of religious texts, discussions with friends, maybe even get on the phone to someone like me. You don't have to call me, there's thousands and millions of other practicing readers out there. Or indeed get yourself some part-time counselling. There's also professional counsellors who work over the internet and telephone as well. So there's ways of getting different perspectives. But my concern is that once there is communication, you may end up being the one to drive it away. Be careful. Okay, we got a reading for Sorothy now. Sorothy is the YouTube channel name. I don't think it was the birth name. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. And Sorothy is someone who is finalizing a divorce. Obviously a very emotional time, a very serious time in a person's life. And what Sorothy is going through at the moment is trying to get a new relationship off the ground. There's an individual that Sorothy has got a real strong, passionate bond with and wants to make sure that's going to go okay and according to plan. So again, we'll just have a quick look. All I can do is tell you what I can see, and if this was a one-to-one call, we could then discuss the results and try and provide you with some genuine clarity. There are some downsides to this particular method of just using videos, and that is that we can't get into an in-depth conversation, okay? And that can be a little negative. But on the other hand, maybe this can start the process going, the process of contemplation from your side of things, so that you can think about things in a different way and start to get a positive impression as to what's going on in your life. Alright, let's have a quick look. Still been shuffling like mad. Alright. Okay, well, this is actually really rather good. You spoke of a passionate connection with this new individual. That's there, but it isn't a strong cup sign. Why isn't it a strong cup sign? Because you're still dealing with the aftermath of the relationship that you're bringing to an end, and a divorce which you're starting to bring about. And once that's cleared and you're able to actually think in a much better light about life, you'll be much happier, much more objective about this new relationship. You know what I mean when I say objective? Okay, seeing it as if it was from outside, which is a very important attitude to take. He's got love for you, sure. Nice, strong, watery signs, watery colours. I often use the colours in association with like the astrological signs and the traditional meanings of the various suits and the major arcanas, of course. So that feeling is that this is an individual who is right for you in the here and now. There's other meanings to the colour blue, and it can talk about empathy and compassion. That's good. But also be careful. You don't want to be in a relationship in which the person you're building the bond with happens to be taking the role of a therapist in your life. Okay, you don't want to have that variety of connection. You want to have the kind of connection whereby you can build it up based upon love, upon common interests, upon good communication, similar views, similar political opinions, and all the rest of that. Because if you are building a proper relationship, you want to be able to act as one. Alright, a marriage is supposed to be a unity of two people. It's not supposed to be two people just living together. It's supposed to be a unity between two people. And you can build up those similarities and those common interests through deliberately finding out about the other person's point of view and working together to try and bridge any gaps. Okay, so this sense of passion definitely there, looking very, very good indeed. On your side of things, interesting interpretation there. Very strong stable signs. Whenever we get coin signs or disc signs, that's talking about stability, and that's also talking about things of a very practical nature. So you're seeing this relationship not only in a passionate light, but also in a practical light, which is good. But why do we have signs of defensiveness there? Are you concerned that this individual might possibly be with somebody else? Are you thinking about there is the possibility of losing this individual, or possibly the difficulties that you're going through at the moment, what with the divorce and all, having some kind of impact, emotional impact upon him? It's just an indicator that there's maybe more subtleties, more nuances there that you're going to have to deal with the passage of time. The progress in the future, brilliant. Now the first signs we got, short-term future, Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups are very analogous to the One of Cups. I'm sure you know about Kabbalistic reduction. 10, 1 plus 0 is 1, so it has the same kind of meaning as the One of Cups as well. So essentially that's not actually a bad sign for you at all. Very strong bond and developing. Also a feeling of satisfaction and possibly an opportunity for celebration between yourself and him in a not too distant future, maybe 3 to 5 months down the line from now at the very outside. So he's going to be around for a while. But obviously be careful of the message of the here and now, because the message of the here and now is emotionally difficult for you, and you need to work with that and you need to deal with that, okay? But the progress here is actually very, very good. You've got things to look forward to there, and it's looking quite calm. You may be thinking, I don't want a calm relationship, I want a passionate one. But what if the relationships themselves go in a certain pattern? Alright, maybe relationships do go in a certain pattern. People talk to me about soulmates and they say, is this person my soulmate? Well, I tend to use the word soulmate in a different way to a lot of other people. I regard a relationship as reaching a peak based upon a delightful emotional bond or connection, which I call the soulmate stage. And then that drops off. It always drops off in every possible relationship. And then a new love starts to be formed, and that's based upon discipline, dedication, staying together, being mature about the whole relationship. Alright? That's the life partner connection. When you got that in place, and you can see everything in perspective, you can actually make things last for a long period of time. Bit of a sense of what can be interpreted as caution during your midterm future, which is maybe between 3 and 8 months down the line from now. But I don't see that as, oh, you've got to be cautious of him. I don't see that in that way at all. I think it's much more a question of keep what you've got, keep the balance, keep the understanding going. And very long-term future signs, wisdom, something calm, something spiritual occurring within the relationship. So it appears you're bonding on a number of different levels. And your relationship with him is going to go through a number of different stages. Once the divorce is finalised, there may be a big emotional release coming from yourself, and you can't always expect your partner to be able to understand or accept it. So that's something you've got to try and find other ways of dealing with. Channel that energy out in another way. Develop a hobby, develop an interest, go for long walks in the countryside, or whatever it is you have to do just to burn off some of the stress. Okay. And once that's dealt with, you can then start working on making sure you keep that passionate bond in your short-term future. This is the path, okay? We keep strong passion, sense of love and satisfaction. So that's like the earlier stage, the kind of like soulmate bond that I feel you've got with this new connection. And then eventually, that's going to reach a more objective and rational stance later on. But there's still a sense of continuity there. There's no signs of destruction. There's no, lightning struck towers or death cards. The feeling I'm getting is not negative. It's actually quite positive, and I feel that this is a relationship which is going to grow and develop for you. So it actually looks and feels really rather interesting, and I think you've chosen quite well there. Okay, well, we got another one now, and this is Kira Simone. And Kira Simone, another YouTube channel, is someone who's interested in a relationship which has come to an end. So it's not a relationship which is going, it's a relationship which has come to an end. And this is something that she desperately wants to bring back. Okay, as I'm sure you can tell, these are common questions I get asked. But this is one that I'm just going to focus in on quite quickly and see whether there is a possibility of a return. Okay, so let's have a quick look. Shuffling like a lunatic yet again. You can actually get software these days that actually does your tarot spreads for you. So you just press a button and boom, you get your Celtic cross coming up on the screen. Then it's up to you to interpret it. I mean, that's a bit like production lining. It sort of lacks the human component, but never mind. I'm still doing things the manual and old-fashioned way, for the moment anyway. So let's have a quick look. Another 8-card relationship reading. It's all relationships today for some reason. There's no sort of business or work or anything else type inquiries coming through. It's all relationship stuff. Alright. Stability, yes, but a barrier between you and this other individual in the here and now. It's a barrier which has got to be lowered. Some of that is to do with misinterpretations and misunderstandings, but also there's a feeling of distance there. So I feel this is an individual who may have moved away, alright, in the here and now. And this is someone who has been a stable factor in your life in the past, but his mind is racked with all kinds of weird stuff going on. Alright, on your side of things, very traditional, strong sense of a bond there, very romantic, a sense of joy with all the memories you've got for him. It's more of a sense of longing though. Not necessarily longing to recapture what you once had, because you're more down to earth than that. It's more a question of longing to get something which is appropriate for you and appropriate for him as well. I feel he got a very good feeling for where his character could possibly take him in the longer term, and I feel that that's a nice view and a nice picture. We've got some wonderful signs in the future part of the reading here. Pure cup signs. Pure cup signs. Do you ever feel his presence when he's not around? It's almost like he's there in the room with you. I mean, that's the kind of thing the kind of impression that I'm getting, a sense of as if you're aware that he's thinking of you. Maybe that's where it's all sort of happening, really. Difficult to say. Alright. But I would say that there's some potential there. But you're going to have to give that one time, because it doesn't seem to be immediate. Some people want a relationship to occur, but they have never had the guts to put in the action, or it becomes difficult to put in the action. But on the emotional bond level, he still feels connected with you. Okay, now we've got astrology for me, who's inquiring about a job. Finally, we get a change of pace, and something which is something different. I like variety. I mean, when I'm working, every day on the telephone or on the internet, I get variety all the time, one after the other. But for some reason, maybe there's some connection in the stars above, I don't know. But for some reason, it's all been love in the first part of this reading show today, but never mind. So, astrology for me. Let's have a quick look and see whether you will get a new, well-paying job soon. Chronological spread, here we go. Right. Well, I think this is really rather interesting and intriguing. We do have a sense of dramatic change. Your very short-term future is still rather disappointed. So, is it going to happen within the next couple of days? Basically, no, not at all. Shortly after that, the lightning-struck tower, which came through reversed, is actually giving very good portents. Why would a sense of destruction that comes through in the lightning-struck tower be very positive for you? Well, if you look at the imagery very closely, it's a bit of a messy image, unfortunately, but you may be able to see it looks a little like the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail, things going in circles. So it's not just talking about destruction, but it can be talking about rebirth. And your question was about starting a new job soon. Now, starting a new job or starting a new career can be quite an important thing in your life. And I feel this is going to actually bring you to a new level you've always wanted to be at. Later on down the line in the reading, a bit of a sense of fun and happiness. Maybe it'll be a young crowd that you'll be working with, and there'll be some fun involved in the work itself. So essentially it's rather interesting and rather intriguing there. And yeah, in the still longer term future, not only will you be loving the work itself, but you'll be able to really give back somehow. Something which feels of an almost caring nature. I don't quite know how that's going to fit in with your job, because I see that as like a very official type organisation, a very conservative organisation, but one which will somehow do you some good. Alright? Maybe it won't be the last career change you will have, but as far as is financial stability going to come into your life in the next 2 to 3 months at the outside, the short answer there for you, according to the reading, would be yes. So obviously carry on working with your applications. Lots of direct applications, try and avoid the agencies, as I always say, and I think you'll get there. Okay, Happy Goat 75 wants me to read on a relationship which has passed. Let's have a quick peek for you. Just bear with me a second, please. First and foremost thing that I'm seeing here, you were once very special to him. Alright, very special to him indeed. It's a difficult situation. You speak in your message about him reaching out to you non-verbally. I think I can understand where you're coming from there. There's a sense of connectivity which is remaining. I don't think he's going to get back in your life. I just don't think that. I mean, as I expand the reading further forward into the future, I feel he's coming out with signs of being much more of a dreamer rather than an actor. Okay? There's not much in the way of stability signs there. I mean, I'm seeing signs of him with his head in the clouds, and also having a bit of a depressed attitude to life, and possibly trying to escape from any real message of understanding as to what his life is about and how that interacts with other people. So that's not looking very, very good. I feel that, however, you were very special to him at some point. So be aware that you fulfilled a very important part in his life, and vice versa. Okay, it can get more and more complex. We've got an individual now whose channel name is Baby Cake Sweet as Sin. She's in a relationship with somebody, and that somebody's got a friend, and that particular friend is the one she wants me to read on today, to see whether this friend of the person she's connected to has actually got feelings and wants something more. Complexity abounds, doesn't it? So let's have a quick look and see what's going on here. Yeah, this is someone who wants something else there. Forces in between the two of you, the Ruin card. Not necessarily saying it will be a ruinous situation, but it might be, but it's also saying that it will be a very difficult situation. It's a dynamic which I don't think you actually want to be in. It's something which doesn't seem to fit the bill as far as where you want to go with your life. But the impression I'm getting here is that yes, this is someone who wants something else. I mean, we got very bright willful signs there, so I think he's probably giving you little references here and there which could be interpreted as being something of a relationship nature. So I feel it feels very interesting as far as what could possibly happen in the future. Yeah, I think he's going to try and take some action, might even make a pass at you. The feeling there is that there is to be some kind of change leading to something of a romantic nature later on down the line. Not in the short-term future, not before Christmas and New Year. I think it's going to be after that. And he will try and get the ball rolling. And do you want to be with this individual, or do you want to be with a person you're already with? That's a question you've got to ask yourself. I really shouldn't be here to answer that question for you. And it is difficult. I mean, your energy is coming out very strong and very resilient, but how do you want to apply that strength and resilience? Do you want to apply that to the generation of something new, or the continuity of something you've already been working on for a long period of time? That's what you got to think about right now. Okay, those are the tarot readings for today. Now, what I've been doing is a few long ones, a few short ones. We've had a lot of very similar messages coming through today. I think in the next one I may try and do many more short readings so I can start plowing through the list. And then that will make life a lot easier. So do keep your requests coming in, and I'll try and increase the rate of reading videos that I can do for you. As is traditional, rate, comment, subscribe, favorite, and share. If you need me again, basically you know where I am. Okay. Remember, this is by request, not on demand, and send all requests not in the comment section. That's down there is naughty, okay? But send it through via private message, and I'll be more than happy to add you to the rota. Okay. Speak to you again very, very soon.